Last time, Luffy, Sanji, Frankie, and Bonnie succeed in launching St. Marcus Mars into the sky. Along with them, the Giants manage to set sail, but Topman Walkery isn't content with leaving them there and launches himself at the ship. But from the depths, drawn by the drums of liberation, the Iron Giant, now given the name Emet, punches the giant boar right in the face, breaking one of his tusks. Along with the Iron Giant, Vegapunk's message resumes around the world. Meanwhile, Atlas breaks from Luffy and the others to check on the Thousand Sunny and the remainder of the Straw Hat crew. What happens next? Tune in for this chapter review and first reaction to One Piece Chapter 1120, Atlas. That was a bit dramatic, wasn't it? Yes, Chapter 1120, Atlas. We start with the cover story as always. Yamato was previously getting pelted by rocks in the Kibi region by some kids, and now we see the kids getting put in a timeout, and by timeout he means putting them in a bag, or not a bag. It's like a net. He's captured the children in the net, and I am talking about the Daimyo of Kibi, Denjiro. Good to see him. He's looking the same as ever. Well, the same as ever after his hair turned white and he turned into a Yakuza member. Either way, let's get onto the chapter proper. We are getting a flashback 26 years ago, Punk Hazard. I implore you, Vegapunk, please aid us in our research. It is imperative that we study the Void Century. The world's history can't remain shrouded in darkness. Your research requires expertise in numerous fields. I work for the government now. I can't afford to leak my findings. And we're seeing... Sorry, I'm confused by what I see. So we see Clover from Ohara, and we see a younger Vegapunk with still an enormous head. And the sign... I think the Punk Hazard sign is the same, but it looks like there used to be an actual, like, almost Onigashima-like logo for Punk Hazard. But there's also just a random speech bubble. Oh, it's the kerning of it. The translation that I'm reading, the fan translation, it's saying growl, but because it's split across two lines, it looks like it's saying grow will. And so I was like, grow will? What does that mean? Sorry, that was just a sidetrack. Vegapunk then continues saying to Clover, how many times have they caught you anyway? Open your eyes. Can't you see why they keep letting you go free? Clover looks a lot more Cloverish in his youth. And there's a dragon in the background. Is that Vegapunk testing an old hologram technology? Because that's just like... I don't think it's the old Punk Hazard dragon, surely, because that thing looked a bit more strange. But Vegapunk, they're hoping to flush out your allies. Stand down. Let the past remain shrouded. You won't find the answer to good and evil in a bunch of old stories. So I guess that's an explanation why they let Clover keep getting away with exploring history, because it's like, well, if he does it, and if he doesn't tell anyone right away and gathers like-minded people, then we can take them all out at once. Clover. I once knew someone who carried a D in their name. He was killed right in front of me. We grew up together. He was my big brother. My real name is... Clyome D. Clover. Sorry, I'll spell this out. C-L-A... I believe that's an I with a pronunciation sort of flick on it. I don't know. Is it an umlaut? It's something on it. So C-L-A-I-O-M-H D. Clover. We were only friends. Oh, so it's seeing in the flashback, Clover survived because he didn't say that it was his brother. He said that, like, oh yeah, we're just friends, so I don't share that same name. And based on the outfits of the people in the flashback, they're all in silhouette. They look like they're most likely Cypher Pole agents. And he shouts out to Vegapunk, tell me, how am I meant to accept a world where you can just die for having the wrong name? History will only continue to be suppressed and the people will never know. And Vegapunk is silent for a moment, And then he says, I'll forget what you just told me, but I'm afraid I can't help you. Do your best to stay safe. Vegapunk, the voices of the past call out to you, just wait. I'll solve this puzzle, and when I do, you won't be able to ignore them. So maybe this is why Vegapunk feels a bit of responsibility to the people of Ohara, because he abandoned Clover before, and then they all got killed. And then 22 years ago, did you hear the news from the West Blue? Ohara came face to face with a Buster Call. Take a look, it's the biggest massacre ever. They finally got that archaeologist Clover. Shurororororo. This is Caesar. Gassy Caesar. Looking pleased at destruction. That's what happens when you look into the Void Century. No one's going to make that mistake again. And Vegapunk thinks of Clover. And he's looking at the wanted poster of Nico Robin, and he says, it looks like some brat survived. You must have had a chance to escape, Clover. So he's looking and he's like, hey, you had a chance to escape. If that kid was able to escape, you would have been able to. You chose death. Was passing on your research that important? You fools, did you really expect someone to be curious enough to follow in your footsteps after his? And now we're flashing forward to the present. Someone once told me that the voices of the past call out to you. History is written by the victors. And, we see Zeph, which is very nice for me because I'm working on the Sanji video right now. And the words of the vanquished are usually cast into the deep, dark ocean. That being said, their truth can still come to light. We're seeing some slaves being whipped. I'm not entirely sure where this is in this second panel. That being said, their truth can still come to light if the oppressed carry it on their backs and endure. And we see Robin listening to the transmission, face in her hand, looking very upset. But she's actually, you see a tear. So she's crying. So she's definitely remembering Clover right here. And now we see the Sunny, finally, after a chapter. Hey, what are you doing? For my part, I am leaving this to the world. Hurry and blast off. And Lilith is saying, it's no good, we can't. That old centaur is gonna keep attacking us. We're finished if he does. This ship can only fly for a kilometer. If the geezer disrupts our trajectory even a little, we won't make it. And Ethan is indeed looking very menacing as he approaches the ship, his hand on his sword's hilt. The wind's blowing north, and that's reducing our lift. Any further jolts will make us fall short of our projected landing zone. According to my calculations, if we miss the ocean, our damages will be critical. We have to get rid of him first. And then what? Something approaches Lilith from behind. And it's Atlas. She got there quickly. Lilith. And everyone's reacting, Atlas? Why did you do that to Lilith? And she's huffing and puffing. And we hear a snap as she does something to Lilith's head. She says, I'll leave her in your hands. Take off, I'll make sure you make it in one piece. I wonder if that was an intentional translation. Sure, you make it in one piece. Usopp and the others, what are you talking about? And, we see, I always forget her name. The sloth and gluttony version of the Vegapunks. I always forget her name. It's astounding. But she recognizes that Lilith's access has been severed, and Atlas is the only one left. So there's something that they have that indicates that they are alive, quote unquote. So maybe Edison is still alive, and he's done the same thing to himself. Ethan looks angry as Nami says, take Lilith inside, Zoro. Got it. Atlas, you've got to explain. Atlas is taking on Ethan. She couldn't take on Lucci. There's absolutely no way she doesn't get speed blitzed by Ethan. Does she think if all the Vegapunks are disconnected that they will stop pursuing the Straw Hats? I sincerely doubt that. But if that was the case, why didn't Atlas just break the thing herself? Why didn't Like, was this something that only Atlas knew that the other Vegapunks weren't aware of? Like, Okay, Jinbei gets hold of the ship. He says, let's go. We'd regret it if we hesitated now. Zoro doing the right thing. He's saying, do it, Brook. And Brook as well activates the coup de burst. Atlas gets an arm taken by Ethan as she charges into him to delay him. I think the older members / more mature members of the crew, like Zoro knows what needs to be done. Jinbei and Brook also understand the situation they're in, which is pretty much their character. And they're like, look, yeah, Atlas, she's sacrificing herself so we can get away. We're not going to waste her sacrifice. Atlas, with her arm cut off, continues to chase after Ethan, who... not chase after Ethan. It looks like she's pushing Ethan out of the way, which, frankly, I'm surprised she can do that at all. But the Straw Hats activate their coup de burst as we see more from the broadcast. This broadcast of mine, I'm praying that this message gets transmitted safely. Whoa, Vice Admiral Hound, sir, what's this? There's a snake, a boar, and a bird, and now a robot. I was like, is that a reference to any sort of mythology? Maybe. There's a snake, a boar, a bird, and now a robot. Where did these giant creatures come from? I was thinking, like, is it Momotaro? But no, that's a monkey, a heron, and a... what was the third creature? Was it a dog? I can't actually remember. I honestly don't have the faintest idea, and Luffy is still absolutely thrilled. It's the huge robo! And the giants are also thrilled. An iron giant! I'm sad that there's not a cutaway, because Sanji looks happy, Frankie looks thrilled, all the giants look thrilled. I was hoping for a cutaway to Bonnie, because it's my favorite gag when like a mechanized thing is there, like a robot appears, and all the boys, they're all like, oh, this is amazing! And then it cuts to like Robin or Nami, and they're just completely just deadpan, like, nah, I don't care. Sadly, Bonnie still looks like she's recovering, probably. Joy Boy, I'm happy we got to meet again. Yeah, so Luffy can hear the voice of Emet. And he looks around, he's like, who's talking to me? And the Iron Giant does a classic, like, comedy reaction of, like, putting his hand in front of him, like, oi, hey, over here, you. I realize it would be foolish to blindly trust a one-sided account of a 900-year-old battle. That's Vegapunk, sorry. I came like before. Your enemy is my enemy. I am glad. I can fight for you again, Joy Boy. And Luffy looks a bit more childish than, like, his face looks a bit more round. He looks a bit cuter. Like I wonder, is that an intentional, like, thing here? Either way, I'm glad I can fight for you again, Joy Boy. And Luffy's like, you could talk? That's so cool. And Emet, I will protect you from danger, Joy Boy. And Topman and the giant worm, he says, we must pound them to dust. And it seems like Vegapunk's speech is all but over. So we missed some very key details. Oda. But yeah, it looks like Vegapunk's message is probably over. The giants, let's go. Hey, Straw Hat, is he a friend? Not really. He was saying something about protecting some guy called Joy Boy. Who even is that? It talked. We didn't hear a thing. Wow, really? So yeah, obviously communicating using the voice of all things. Enough chit-chat. Shoot, we can't let them get away. That's Bluegrass. And they're firing the cannons on the giant ship. Vegapunk continues. But I think we should be able to scrutinize and learn about the past from every perspective possible. I only wish I had more time. But there are those who cannot be stopped. We see Emet raising a fist to Giant Worm. It's gonna fire. What's gonna come out? We see Sanji. Oh no. We see Sanji and Frankie, stars in their eyes, so excited to see. It looks like Emet's gonna launch a fist just like Frankie. And then we just see a panel of Emet going, uh-oh. And the Luffy, Frankie, and Sanji like, what? Watch out, robot! Oh, he Well, that's less than funny. It looks like the left side of his torso gets a huge chunk taken out of it, so his left arm's just gone. But Emet thankfully manages to stop Giant Worm with his right arm that still remains. Robot, it seems the last 100 years have rendered those weapons inoperable. Yeah, Jupiter. That's the Giant Worm. I call him Giant Worm. He's the name I remember the least. Peter crushed them where they stand. End this transmission once and for all. Saturn launches himself off of Jupiter, or Jupiter, and he lands on the giant ship. I will not let you escape. Kuma, Bonnie. And Sanji looks up and he sees, or maybe he senses something because it's got that sort of reaction thing. Because he's, got pretty good observation, Hucky. That's the Sunny and what? I'm trying to... Oh, it looks like, there's the coup de burst of the Sunny launching itself, but you can see a separate smoke trail, which I'm assuming is Atlas, who launched herself at Ethan. Zoro, hold on tight, we're going down. Are we going to make it? So you mean to make a grand sacrifice of yourself, Ethan says about Atlas. And she says, no, nah, I'm just lending a hand. And she explodes. Rip Atlas. Ooh, 25 years ago, the pirate Gold D. Roger. So, well, now the world knows Gold Roger's real name. We're gonna make it. The Straw Hat Crew say as they make their way to the giant ship. 25 years ago, it's hard. There's so many crossing speech bubbles, but 25 years ago, the pirate Gold D. Roger achieved the unprecedented by circumnavigating the globe. It only worked because you, right, Atlas, Usopp, and Chopper are crying. I have no doubt they heard the whole thing. This is Goldie Vegapunk again. Atlas's signal is gone. It's finally happened. I'm the last Vegapunk. And Ethan says, no, not quite. We let you say far too much, Stella, Saturn says. Indeed, this is the end, as Jupiter and Walkuri charge towards Emet. Oh my, I have really rusted away. This is the time you spoke of, right, Joy Boy? Can I use it? What's he gonna use? And Vegapunk is continuing to talk. They must have heard the voices from the past from the purest source possible. I am confident you have all come to the same conclusion at this point, and I anticipate that is what will ultimately determine how things transpire in the future. Wait, what was that? Did he say Goal D? Cover and color spread next issue. A visionary envisions the future. Doesn't look like there's a break next week. I'm just going to say Vegapunk's line in one go. So, 25 years ago, the pirate Gold D. Roger achieved the unprecedented by circumnavigating the globe. I have no doubt they heard the whole thing. They must have heard the voices of the past from the purest possible source. I am confident you have all come to the same conclusion at this point, and I anticipate that is what will ultimately determine how things transpire in the future. So, Vegapunk is not so subtly looking directly at us, the reader. Obviously, the purest possible source. They've seen the One Piece that's... I doubt the purest possible source would be Joy Boy himself, but Joy Boy's writings would be the poneglyphs, I assume, or at least some of the poneglyphs, because, the one on Fishman Island was literally was literally Joy Boy apologizing to the mermaid princess of the time. So, he's kind of directly telling us, the audience, that, you have all reached the same conclusion. You all know the One Piece is going to reveal the true history of the world, and that will determine how things transpire in the future. And Emet is probably also going to do a heroic sacrifice at this point. It is interesting that I'm just thinking, like, the strengths of all the different elders. So, Topman, I think, like, we could classify him as having, like, the strongest defense. And Jupiter like, I struggle to say strongest offense, but maybe he's just pure destructive power, because he was able to pretty effortlessly take a chunk out of the Iron Giant. It is important to note that Ethan has recognized that, yes, they have Lilith on board still, though she's lost her connection to Punk Records, theoretically. Or is it just the signal that says that she's gone? Like, she severed her connection to Punk Records, I believe, in some way. So she won't have all of the knowledge of Vegapunk, to say the least. Lilith celebrating that she's the last one. Ethan, we see he's got the same recovery powers as Saturn, which, we could have assumed. Anything I'm missing? I'm going to check the back, because I've missed several cameos in while watching this. So let's first check the background of the flashback with Vegapunk. You see a couple of dudes in the background. One of them could be Queen. Not entirely sure by that. That's a bit of a stretch. Yeah, but we clearly see Caesar. Anything else through here? I mean, we see in the shot to the Baratier, we see Zeph in the foreground. We see Paddy in the background, who's looks like he's grown a bit of hair, but he's looking as fine as ever. I'm still surprised. I mean, Atlas does have like a jetpack on her back, but to fly up to the Sunny meant that she had to kind of fly past a couple of the other elders. So I'm a bit surprised by that. What did she snap? It looks like there's something at the back of Lilith's head that connected. Because I thought it might be like the earpiece signal thing. But that would probably be a bit too obvious. So she's done something to the back of Lilith's head that's disconnected her. I just, probably against my better judgment, I've read all of Windbreaker, because the anime adaptation was so fun. I read the entirety of that last night when I should have been doing editing for the next video. And just looking at this shot of this shot of Atlas, I'm getting the same vibes just because of the two-tone hair color. It's pretty, I think it's a big action scene, like the Sunny finally launches off the Labosphere into successfully making it into the water. And it's a bit sad. Like, Emet is like, oh, I'm finally reconnecting with Joy Boy. Though, Luffy is so... Luffy's not stupid. So, what I'm learning is, from doing the analysis of the East Blue, what he says to Kuro is, how could you become a pirate and not expect your name to become famous? Like, what's even the point of that? And I think Luffy has a very strong sense of identity. So he doesn't really want to be known as Joy Boy. So I'm wondering if it's like a willful ignorance, or an intentional, people are calling me Joy Boy, but no, I'm not Joy Boy. I'm Monkey D. Luffy. I'm going to become King of the Pirates. If I become King of the Pirates, I don't want to be known as Joy Boy. Call me by my name. Yeah, and so Luffy, when he says, he was saying something about protecting some guy called Joy Boy. Who even is that? Surely at this point, after the Giants have said it, after Bonnie has said it, after several people have called him directly Joy Boy, they say to his face, oh, Joy Boy, you would think that Luffy would just be like, yeah, okay, I don't know why you're calling me Joy Boy. People keep calling me Joy Boy. I wonder who this Joy Boy person is. But he's just saying, who even is Joy Boy? Weird. I'm Luffy. I'm not Joy Boy. Yeah, very tragic when Emet fails to launch his fist. And the guys are so devastated when he doesn't succeed. And just also there's the one panel of, uh-oh. But Saturn is aboard the giant ship and you can see him leaking some sort of poison. And he dwarfs the giants as well. Well, not dwarfs. I'd say he's probably twice the height of a giant, though he is elevated in this scene, and it's just a good piece of art to show. He's looming over them to show how daunting he looks. But when you zoom out and you see the Straw Hats like about to land into the ocean, you don't really see him on the giant ship. Like, is that just a mistake by Oda, or is he slightly further down? I mean, look, Oda's got limited time. He can't like make sure everything is accurately represented in every panel. But yeah, how exciting. I'm excited to see the chapter next week. I'm excited to see what Emet pulls off, though I'm sure it's going to be a heroic sacrifice. It's very interesting that Vegapunk has announced to the world Gold Roger's or Goldie Roger's real name, because it's really easy for us as readers to forget. Gold Roger or Goldie Roger isn't known as Goldie Roger. Like, there's a specific point there. He's known as Gold Roger around the world, that when it was put on his wanted posters, when he was arrested, when he was executed, the world government made sure that the world knew him as Gold Roger. They removed the D from his name, and it's something where, he was quite annoyed with that when you look at Odin's flashback. He's like, they started calling me Gold Roger. It's Gold D Roger. That's weird. It's very similar to Luffy. Joy Boy. Who's Joy Boy? I'm Luffy. But yes, Oda is... I guess the best and the most clear lore drop is not a lore drop at all, but it's just Oda very obviously speaking directly to camera via Vegapunk and saying, look, you have all come to the same conclusion at this point. You all know that the true history is going to be revealed when they find the One Piece. And that's going to be exciting to see what happens when the true history gets revealed. And I think that's a good note to leave it on. Video on Sanji this Saturday for Americans, Sunday if you're an Aussie. It might be a bit late because I'm running a bit behind. It took me a while to come up with a script for this one. And I guess that's that, and I'll see you next time. Bye.